If you happen to know the saying, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. That can be hard to live by if your workplace is toxic.
Well, we have Chelsey Cole, psychotherapist and author of If Only I'd Known How to Outsmart Narcissists, Set Guilt-Free Boundaries, and Create Unshakable Self-Worth, here with us on Houston's Morning Show. You're going to talk to us about coping with and identifying these toxic workplaces. First off, is this more common than we think?
You know, it really is. A recent survey by the American Psychological Association showed that about 1 in 5 people say their workplace is toxic or very toxic. And almost 1 in 4 said that they had been verbally abused within the past 12 months. Now, this number is pretty staggering if you consider that all of us know 4 or 5 people. So that means either someone you know or yourself has or will experience a toxic workplace. And the sad reality is narcissists are always going to be drawn to leadership positions, which means we're always going to have toxic workplaces because they are charming. They like to be in control. They're, willing to put people under the bus. And honestly, they're great at self-promotion. So this isn't to say, of course, that all leaders are narcissistic, but we will always have toxic workplaces as long as superficial traits like being charming, charismatic, and well-liked are more valued over character traits like honesty, hard work, and empathy.
I think if you ask somebody if their workplace is toxic and they immediately answer yes, they probably don't need to know the signs and symptoms. They feel it every day, right? But for someone who doesn't, what does that look like so that they could be on the lookout for it at any time?
Yeah, well, a toxic workplace feels like being in a toxic relationship. Essentially, you are drawn in, you're used for what you can give to the workplace or the boss, and then kind of disregarded or ignored if you're not currently being useful. Toxic workplaces are also chronically invalidating. This means people aren't valued for hard work, for dedication, for, contributing to the company, but they're valued for being able to play office politics or charm upper management. And toxic workplaces often say they value wellness, a healthy work-life balance, but they don't actually follow through on those values. They will set unrealistic expectations, unmeetable deadlines, and then criticize employees for being difficult or having a bad attitude if they don't meet those unrealistic expectations, or if they try to set boundaries or push back on these unrealistic expectations.
So Chelsey, how does that impact employees? What kinds of things are employees dealing with?
Right. Yeah, research shows several negative effects of toxic workplaces because narcissists are incredibly antagonistic. They overtly and covertly criticize colleagues, making offensive and insensitive comments and putting their own ideas above others. This decreases employee morale because employees feel deflated, defeated, and discouraged. They don't feel appreciated. They don't feel valued. This leads to higher turnover and absenteeism because of the stress of knowing you have to go in and deal with a difficult person. Employees will start looking for other jobs or calling in sick. And in fact, we know toxic workplaces do make people more sick. We've known for a long time the negative effects of stress on the body. And when you're stressed, you can't think clearly, you're disorganized, and you're less productive and engaged even when you are at work.
Now, sometimes getting a new job just isn't an option, although that would probably be the easiest thing, just walk away and say, forget about it. You might end up in another one, though. What can an employee do to cope trying to deal with a toxic workplace?
Right. Yeah, the number one thing we all should be doing, toxic workplace or not, is documenting. Get everything in writing. If you have an in-person meeting, follow up via email with the expectations, deadlines, timelines, the responsibilities, because this is crucial because you may follow through on something that your toxic boss tells you to do, but then if that doesn't go well, then your toxic boss will deny ever telling you that and then blame the whole thing on you. So documentation is essential if you ever need to go to HR and just to prove the contributions you've made to the company or project. Number 2, narcissists are notorious for using information they get against you. So you really need to know how to pivot or shift out of those conversations. Now, lucky for us, narcissists love to talk about themselves. So if you find yourself kind of getting triggered or baited into a conversation, shift the conversation back by complimenting them. Say something like, that was a really great idea, or that was such a great effective presentation. Or, ask for their feedback on something harmless, like, what do you think the best marketing strategy is for our next project? And finally, if at all possible, don't be alone with a narcissist. To a narcissist, that's when you have, no witnesses, no documentation. And to a narcissist, if you can't prove it, then it didn't happen. And even if you can prove it, they're still going to deny it. So your, evidence is your only hope for a sane person to be able to see the truth.
All right, Chelsey Cole, psychotherapist. We're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, so much.